All right. We are live. I think we're live. We're good. What is going on, everyone? Commodore Laz here. Welcome to the very first edition of a brand new segment that we're going to be having on the channel called Yap Piece. YAP Piece as in One Piece, man. But yeah, we are here today, of course, for Yap Piece. For those of you guys who may be unaware of what that is, for a while, I've been trying to figure out something to add onto the channel to kind of go more in detail and just have a conversation with y'all, whether it be about One Piece, which obviously, of course, is the main topic for today and stuff. Probably will be that going forward with the streams. But just, talking about the chapters, breaking them down detail by detail when the officials come out, page by page, discussing what's happening in them. Maybe there's new information that we may not have gotten the first time around that we may just go on and talk about more in detail, leaving predictions for the next chapter. And then there's anything in detail you guys want to talk about, whether it be One Piece related, would be anything else in general. That's what we're gonna be here for, man. But let me see real quickly. I see Shade, of course, Lixogram, AF13, DJ, Akiem Johnson. What's going on? Let's yap. I'm here, man. That's good, bro. Let's go, bro. Yapping time. It's time, bro. Now, listen. I'm going to just say this, too, also when it comes to Yap Piece. The idea is basically I want to do this after every chapter. So when we read the chapter, when we do Sundays, I want to make that the time where we start the week off because, Sundays we start the week with that. Just basically start the week off, talk about the greatness and stuff in detail. Again, as I say, break it down, predictions, and then talk about whatever. Because I know there's other stuff that's going on too. And also, if I have updates, announcements, all that kind of stuff, I want to leave in here. So for the mods who are going to be watching and stuff as well, if you can timestamp stuff as well, just to make it a little bit easier for everybody. I'm going to try to do it myself, but on the chance that I forget all about that, then please help me on that, man. What are your top 5 One Piece volumes in my collection? That is a tough thing to say because I would literally have to pull every single volume just to make sure I do. I know for a fact that this one right here, the Elbap one with Loki in the background, might be in there as well. But we're gonna have to actually think about that real quickly. How long will the Yap Piece streams go on for? I'm thinking of doing them for at least give or take an hour and a half. I don't want to go too long with them just because I know I love yapping and stuff as well, but it depends also on the days too, right? Because if Man United play, I gotta watch my boys too, right? So, but yeah, but at least an hour, hour and a half, maybe pushing towards 2 hours potentially. We'll have to see. It also depends how long we're gonna be discussing stuff with the chapter. But I want to make sure that the viz is out right now, so that way we can after jump in to that, and then we can go into detail talking about everything that's there, man. But Zachary, what's going on? Winston, what's going on? Pebble, what's going on? Do you think that Garling is stronger than Emu? I think he's stronger. I don't know. I mean, it's very curious to see what's going to be of Garling in terms of where he is capability-wise and stuff and strength. But it's tough to say because I had my own conversation with my boys after the chapter came out on the Thursday, just discussing little things here and there of the fights and stuff. I do think I'm a big believer, though, that we're going to see an Emu Blackbeard, especially depending what happens at the end of Elbaf. I do think that's gonna be a fight that happens, and if it does, I think it just tells you right there, Emu's got to be stronger than Garling. Garling, I would say maybe his capabilities is not far off from Shanks, Emperor tier, but again, we have to see where these matchups are gonna go because it'll be very interesting to see where that goes in play. Ain't nobody stronger than Mu. Akeem, I think you're correct on that, bro. But I mean, if there is one individual, it's probably the one that's gonna pull up for the sake of Davy D Jones and of course Mr. Davy D Zebek himself. But yeah, let me jump over into the chapter portion right here. So as you guys can see, and I'm gonna do this over here because we're gonna go by page because I know the Viz has a double spread thing going on and stuff. I was gonna take off the font of the chapter thing, but just because for copyright stuff, I don't want to play games with things. So we're gonna do it as we do with every single chapter reaction. Same setup and stuff, but if you guys want to be able to read alongside with me, a little bit easier for you, Viz Media or Manga Plus has the chapter. I think it's the last 3 chapters that they'll have up, and then of course if you want to read further in the bulk, you subscribe over there, man. But yeah, we're gonna go into detail and stuff about the stuff that happened in 1159 through the official page by page. So the first one I think we can kind of get out the way real quickly is the Island of Fate as the title of the chapter, but of course Yamato, ulti, page 1, my goat, Gyukimaru, heading off back to the flower capital, after everything that happened, basically with the Kosuke Moria stuff, they're going back to the Flower Capital. I assume that's going to be the very end of the cover story very soon. Whether if that means something, like, we have to see, right? Because I had thought Blackbeard would pull up on Wano, go for Pluton, go get it. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's a 50-50 now. It's between him or the revolutionaries that are attacking Mary Joie as of this moment. So that's what I can see being the case there. But for the cover story itself, again, I still have my feelings on the fact that we didn't get to have Moria at all in Wano. And now knowing that he originally from the West Blue, but had spent time in Wano and then left, I assume that's exactly what the whole thing was there. But again, I feel like we should have got a lot more of him. So that's that for the cover story part. If Oda does before One Piece finishes, do you think they'll use AI to complete the story? No. Zachary, I don't. I would not be able to read One Piece ever again. If they were to go and do something like that, I wouldn't do it. I would not read it. I promise you right now, I would not read it. The story would be finished right there and then, and I don't care how open ending, I don't care how abrupt. I can't do it, bro. If we lose Oda, bro, at any point, and knock on wood, bro, not gonna happen, I wouldn't be able to read it. I refuse to, and I hope that's not the mentality too when it comes to anybody else on the Shueisha side stuff. Ulti cooking, looking good. Let's see about Angel Manning with the $4.99. My boy didn't have to say nothing, bro. No message, bro. Yo, I was hoping you put up a message because that's what listen, I don't tell anybody to donate. Although if you want to ask immediate questions and get a quick response from me and stuff, of course, that also helps with donations. But I appreciate you, bro. Look at him. We got was that a pair? Well, a mic drop? I thought he was doing. Yeah, he's a mic drop. Okay, fair enough, bro. Shout out to Angel Manning. Shout out to you, fam. The editor knows the ending. They finish the story if Oda dies, but hopefully lives longer. That's why I think too, DJ. They'll probably end up being the case where they'll have the ending in mind and probably try to finesse a way to make it happen. But I would rather them go that way than trying to use AI and stuff. But that's just where my standpoint is. All right. So the first page in the chapter itself. So the whole thing with Pirate Island, everything that happened with Don Marlin, bro, listen, can I get an RIP Don Marlin in the chat, please, bro? Because I'm not gonna lie, I was not ready for that at all. I was not ready for that at all, bro. My heart is still in so much pain that my boy is gone, bro. I was hoping at the very least that we get to see him, even if it's like right before the events of the current timeline. Like Capone got him out of here because he's from the West Blue, part of the 5 families and all that, but it was unfortunate, bro. He got taken out. I have my assumptions, but we'll go further into it afterwards. But, bro, Don Marlin just getting taken out the pain was mad unfortunate. He's part of the security team, but they were all killed him, and I guess other subordinates within his side from Rox's crew being taken out. And just the fact that he got taken out, it's just like, I have my suspicions, and I want to know from y'all afterwards, who do you think, like, obviously Ochosu, Okochosu, Wang Ji. Wang Ji probably was likely the one that did it because we saw him, counting the money. We're going to see that after. But if it wasn't them, and it was somebody else entirely, who do you guys think down in the comments? Please let me know. But yeah, bro. Do you think the Blackbeard crew will show up in the Yamato cover story? I don't know, AF. I think right now they're likely to show up more on Mary Joie because of what we learned here during this flashback. That I think that it's more than likely that because of what we learned with Sebek, Blackbeard doing exactly what Sebek was going to do again, I think is a very likely scenario there. So, yeah, I think it's more likely we'll see Blackbeard pull up on Mary Joie, but I wouldn't throw out the idea, too, for them showing up at the end of the cover story because of the whole thing with Caribou telling them about Pluton and all that, so it's definitely possible there. That boy Wang Shi was selling like a WWE wrestler, bro. They were, bro. They were working the arm, the leg, and the everything, bro. So, yeah, man. But we get the news afterwards right there from Rox, from Whitebeard, just the reaction on them. It's just like, bro, Shaki gone. Shaki been kidnapped, right? And this crime happened within a window of just a few hours. So within a few hours, we went from Shaki making crazy dinero to being kidnapped afterwards by whomever it may be, bro. Whomever it may be, bro. I think it was a God's Knight probably killing him. I think that could also be the case, Acme. Because the fact that we see certain individuals towards the end of the whole thing, I think it's very possible that they might have been around. Maybe as, I don't know how old they are technically killing them and stuff, but we'll have to see. But then again, as you see right now, we're going to page 3, or actually this is page 2. Yeah, page 2. With page 2, Wang Ji counting up the money, it's clear as day. They were the ones that were involved. The reaction on Gloriosa, seeing the fact that now that Shockey was taken, bro, like it just, that hurts, bro. Seeing that reaction there, like I know they had the rivalry, bickering and stuff. You know, you're getting more fan letters than I do. That's still your girl. That's still your girl. So it's just unfortunate that that ended up happening there. And just, I when Oda can do things like that to really portray emotion very well, especially from someone tied to what had happened, I think he's so good at doing that. And that little small panel right there, Gloriosa, I think is really, really damn good at just telling you how much her being kidnapped affected her. And all them pirates, down super duper bad. I just seen what happened. And I mean, you're asking them to play, please be safe. I'm hoping for it too, but I'm hoping Rocks can do some damage. You know what I'm saying? And then Roger's reaction, I think, is just plain simple, bro. That man wanted her so bad. And it's like, bro, I allowed it. Fair enough. You can go on the island, go do your rip-off bar or whatever with Rocks. Just protect her. Didn't end up being the case. Now it's on site. If that is the reason for them fighting on God Valley. But I feel like there's probably a lot more that we're going to learn as we get further into it. All of God Valley will be shown as well. It will cover everything until Harold's death. I think that's going to be the case. I am firm of the belief that we are going to see this God Valley incident. Like, we'll go more in detail, but I do think we are now going to see it happen. What if the Trail of the Rocks Pirates is Oyaji? I don't know. I don't think so, man. I don't think so, bro. If you're talking Oyaji as in terms of rocks, or white, it wouldn't be Whitebeard. It wouldn't be Whitebeard. If you're referring to Oyaji being rocks, I don't think it would be him. It would be a little crazy. Or maybe Harold, but even then, no. For the Rocks Pirates, no. It's not going to be that. No. Shaki Strong, how did she get kidnapped? Maybe Holy Knight, Observation Hockey on Rock's crew are not that active. Maybe. I mean, we still don't know the full capabilities of them at that time. We just know that they are monsters just off the names and the merit that they've already built through what we know in the present time. But in this time, it's like we still got to see how that's all playing out. Join being kidnapped. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. What if Shaki was blackmailed to join the Holy Knights by threatening to destroy and slay the Kuja Pirates? That's also a possibility, AF. We're definitely going to find something out once we get to that part after there. Can you believe that we're now 580 chapters past the end of Marineford? I still can't believe that, Zachary. Like, you know how crazy it is that I think I've been covering this series now, and I want to make sure I'm right on the numbers, but it was around 840, 850-ish around I was covering the manga, like when I first started the channel. So now where we are, like, I'm pretty certain I'm near like Enies Lobby, end of Enies Lobby by YouTube coverage on videos for One Piece, and I've not missed a single week. That's like the one thing too. I always have like pride in take and everything, where even if I have a vacation, even if things are going crazy on my end, I will always be here for the chapters. So to cover almost like the length of what's from the beginning of the series, almost like Enies Lobby from a content creating standpoint, absolutely mad. That much time has passed, bro. It's crazy how Katakuri is the only one that's always active with Observation Hockey and Future Sight. That's the boy, bro. Wonder if Davy Jones is related to a man marked by flames. That is a very, very interesting point, and I'll keep that in mind, LZW. But as we continue on after, so Roger's reaction tells you everything that's there. Rayleigh, I'm telling you right now, bro, for him to be called the Dark King, he has to have gotten his name because of what went down in God Valley. And the fact that Shaki was kidnapped, I know he's not going to come off like how Roger is and just be like wailing his emotions and stuff. He's a very reserved guy. He's very stoic. He keeps everything to his heart. Like his heart, you know what I'm saying? Like he keeps his heart on his sleeve kind of thing. He doesn't want you to know how he's feeling. But just off that reaction alone, him picking up the newspaper and seeing that, I already know he's going to go crazy. He's going to go so crazy on God Valley. That is the bare minimum. Like, we demand of that, right? So, Smiles completely vanished. This is the crazy thing. Economic activity around the world was stagnant for weeks because of Shaki being kidnapped. Do you understand how nuts that is? Shaki being kidnapped led to the economy going through a crisis for weeks. The rip-off bar that you're already paying $300 for a bottle of water, and the economy is cooked. This tells you there that people will be like, oh, but it's just Goon Valley and everything, bro. It's deeper than that. The pockets are getting hurt. The pockets are getting hurt, bro. But then, well, this is gonna. Oh, this hurts my soul. This hurts my soul. Going back and seeing this, bro. The first time, oh my god, bro. Oh man, just let's prepare ourselves first. Let me answer a couple questions there. Cadison, of course. Do you think Dragon got a win Logia though through from one of the God Valley chests? I think it's likely. I'm gonna talk more in detail on that, but I do think it's very likely he got that with Shanks and stuff. And guys, by the way, I want to try and run through the whole breakdown stuff. But if you guys feel it's very immediate, that you want to get a question off and stuff, even it could be $1, bro. Just donate. I will stop what I'm doing right there, and I will answer the questions there. But we want to go through this real quickly, so that way we could discuss everything more in detail and stuff. Just want to make sure. So we go into the event to happen afterwards. God Valley, 1 year later in the West Blue, and we see Garling return to what was supposed to be his ting, his kids in Shamrock and Shanks. And all this was just, bro. Oda's insane when it comes to stuff, bro. How do you, your mind decide, like, okay, I'm gonna bait these people in. Maybe there's a side of Garling I don't know about. That you're just gonna be like, hey, yo, I'm back, I'm calm, whatever, it's cool. And it's like, yo, your kids are happy to see you and everything. And it's like, hey, listen, I know you want me to live here and everything, but this island gonna disappear real quick. By the way, this is girl that I'm after as well, that I'm gonna claim to be my wife. And as for you, you out of here. And she's just there, question mark, and stuff. Just wondering what the hell's happening. And then that's like, bro, I'm not ready for this to be animated. Because I know for a fact we may end up seeing her face earlier in the anime than we will in the manga. I would assume we're going to see what she looks like at the very least in the next chapter or so, especially given the fact that a certain character meets up with them just to kind of take care of stuff. But that whole thing there with Garling just cleaning her right through, and the kids are wailing, crying. They are aware of the fact that their mom just got hurt. And it's so crazy to me that Garling immediately moved on. He's like, yo, begin the preparations. Let's get locked in. It's how quick Oda moves past that stuff. I know it's like most people want to see like what the post reaction kind of thing. That's kind of the whole point right here. He does not care. He got her out of here, moved on to the next thing, and then that's what we got into afterwards. The citizens of God Valley, all up in chaos and stuff. Navy ships are pulled up. It's just, bro. They're like wondering to themselves, is some wanted criminal here? No, y'all are just about to become rabbits, bro. Most unfortunate. And right now they're only using like tranquilizer rounds and stuff to be able to try to capture all of them, because obviously if you try pop them a bullet or three, unfortunately that's not going to work out. Like, you're trying to gain all these people and stuff. At that point, you might as well begin the massacre there. Now, as we're going into it, because a certain individual finally gets shown off, and I was hesitant on who exactly that person may be, and we're going to talk about him. There is one part, I'm going to try and zoom in as hard as I can so you guys can see for yourselves as well, at least through the thing underneath the one. You can see underneath the first one. There is somebody right here, where my mouse is, that people were saying this is supposed to be Gecko Moria. Now, I did not want to speculate on that, because I could see the hair piece thing, what's going on, somewhat of the face, maybe to a degree. It could be Moria. I didn't want to speculate on that, but I think from now going on forward, and I'm going to try to do this so I can fix this. Going forward, I think now I'm just going to be speculating on everything. If we get it wrong, we get it wrong. It is what it is, bro. But if that is in fact Moria, that is a pretty crazy thing of how many people were actually involved on this island, and everything that was going on is just so crazy to me, bro. But if he is in fact, because I think the thing is, going back to the last cover page from the last chapter, they said Kozuki Moria was here, that they were from the West Blue, they moved after to Wano, became a pirate, left Wano, and then came back afterwards to try and handle business with Kaido. They couldn't, and then led to whatever. They were believed to be dead, and then they were finished after. So if that exactly, the Kozuki part also as well, when you retranslate, I think from Japanese to English, or English to Japanese, I think it is, right? The Gecko part is Kozuki, or the Kozuki part is Gecko. I have to look at that after, again, to make sure. But from what I had seen online and stuff, it looks like that is the case. which means that Moria is in fact the same guy, the Kozuki Moria, Gekko Moria, same exact person. The amount of important people at God Valley is insane. Yeah, Mr. Williams, it definitely is. Like, I still can't believe that's an actual thing, but even so, bro. Um, let me see. Yeah, yeah, Mr. I don't know, bro. Listen, man, Sandman, bro. Listen, look, bro. I can't comment on Sandman. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I can't comment on Sandman, bro. Cause listen, yo, he came from my boy Cole a few months back, I think it was. I forgot what Cole said. But Sandman came back and got him in the quote retweet, bro. I was like, nah, bro. I am not trying to catch no smoke, bro. But yo, man, that's Sandman, bro. But anyways, with that stuff with Moria, if that is in fact him, I'm very curious as to like. I would love to ask Oda that question. Why didn't you use Moria during Wano? Especially like if you look at his gear and you see like the squares and stuff that he has on his pants and you tilt it to whatever, right? The Kozuki clan, there's like a group in actual IRL and stuff, right? The Takawata clan, I think it is, whatever, that they're supposed to mirror off of. When you slight the angle of that, it almost looks like similar to the symbols. So I'm like, if that's gonna be the case, and he had that importance, why not show him in Wano instead of doing what they did after the fact? I don't know. And not to mention the fact that Moria may know about the poneglyphs. Like, think about this real quickly, guys. Moria can read the poneglyphs if he's from Wano, if he's a Kozuki. If he's a Kozuki, he can read the poneglyphs. So it's like, imagine that moment with Doflamingo at the very end of Marineford, where he's trying to take him out. And he said, this is on orders from someone higher above. It's like, bro, how is he not, like, first off, how did he not get taken out the paint in that moment? How did Dolphy not, how'd you screw that up? I don't know, right? Moria was captured by Blackbeard at the time. So that's the thing I want to make sure, Angel. It was before the events of Wano. Because if that is the case, then yeah, then I have to remember that fact. Then yeah, then it is true. Then it's like you can't do anything about that after. If he was captured, the game is the game. I think it was he? I'll double check after. But if you guys, can someone confirm in the comments, please let me know. I don't think he can, but it makes sense. Edens, what's going on, fam? What's going on, fam? What's going on, Brody? But yeah, man. So the stuff there with Moria, we're probably gonna find out in time if that is in fact him. The hairstyle and stuff, the little bit of the face kind of looks like it, but I don't want to comment too much. On guaranteeing, at least from my perspective, if that's him or not. So the worst part of Wano was how we the samurai were. Zoro should have struggled and grew more. I am a firm believer of that too, Zachary. Trust me, there's a lot of stuff right there with the Straw Hats I felt they should have done a lot better on, but again, didn't end up being the case. And yeah, man. I mean, Wano has the highest of highs in the series, but goddamn, the lows are just unfortunate, bro. At least in between acts 1 and 2. Oh yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That makes more sense. That definitely makes sense. So yeah, he wouldn't be able to get in there after. So stuff more happens, and then we see a certain Marine who, I'm not gonna lie, the back of the head, I was like, yo, is that Dragon? But then as it goes through, you know who he looks like? And oh man, I wish I could remember the damn show. Because if I could remember the show and I could show you what the face looks like, you guys would know who I'm referring to. And it's actually so wild that he's supposed to look like that. But you see this Marine pull in and telling him, haul ass, get ready. We needed to we gotta get the work in, bro, for the mission and everything. And he is just like, bro, they look like normal civilians. Like, I'm not trying to be hurting nobody, whatever. And then as soon as they turn to the next page, we get the reveal right here that this is in fact Marine, but in the case here, Navy sailor Monkey D. Dragon, future Revolutionary Army commander, and the father of Luffy. Now, I also want to highlight something here about this because I could be wrong. Clarify for me down in the comments. Every time that we have gotten Dragon told to us, title box and all, from the narrator, not one single time have they gone and said, son of Garp. It's always been father of Luffy. Like, we are aware, we should be aware. Monkey D. Dragon, Monkey D. Garp, Monkey D. Luffy. Okasan, we're going to find out eventually. I just find it so fascinating that Oda still is doing this thing where he just says father Luffy and doesn't acknowledge, at least from a title perspective, that Garp is his dad. He's a son of Garp and all that. I feel like there's going to be something that may speak on why that's a fact. The fact that they're on this island together, I am expecting an interaction. They have to have an interaction. I don't care how minuscule it is. I don't care how brief it is. But whatever happened on this island, I think created the friction between the two, and why we have never gotten an interaction, or outside of what happened post Enies lobby with the acknowledgments when Garp revealed to Luffy who his dad was. Outside of that, there's nothing more that needs to be done than having those two have a conversation and seeing what could have been that led to them splitting off, Dragon becoming revolutionary, and then Garp at times when he gets brought up as the hero of the Marines, whatever happened on God Valley, that disgust that he feels towards it. It's got to be something there, man. Do you think Luffy's mom is Shanks and Shamrock's mom? I don't think so. I think that no. I saw some people, Zachary, that were asking about that stuff. I don't think so, and I hope to God it's not the case. Because then it's like, of course, Shanks is protecting Luffy because they share the same mom. I don't think that's the case, and I would hope it's not. I think it's someone completely different, and whoever it is, it probably happened after the fact of God Valley. I think then it's like in the midst of him becoming maybe a freedom fighter or whatever led to that happening. But again, we need to see, because it had to be, because Luffy, of course, way ahead in time and stuff with his age and everything, because it's like at least like 20 plus years or so. So yeah, I don't think that's the case. No, I don't think so. But if Oda does, listen, you better really convince me that is the case. It was Blackbeard who told Moria about what was happening in Wano after reading the paper. Okay, yeah, so that is true. That is true. Watch Moria's blade be a supreme grade. That would be hilarious if that ends up being the case. But yeah, Laz, when Dragon appeared, his title boxes are kind of strange. The father of Luffy was only there, and there is no son of Garp, and that's the thing, DJ. Listen. I don't know if it's Garp adopted him, or he's rather the son-in-law, and that Garp actually had a daughter. Again, Oda is gonna have to really, really tell us exactly how that's gonna make sense, but we'll find out in due time with him. Do you think Gabon stole Summer's wife at God Valley? I don't think so, bro, because the fact that he ends up with Ripley after the fact, I'm not too sure. Like, it's kind of weird, though, because it's like, nah, I don't think so. I know he was frolicking and doing other things and stuff, but I don't think so. Yo, because it's Yap Piece, what's going on, fam? Maybe it could be someone else he meets on God Valley. Quite possibly, bro. We saw Luffy's mom in Alabasta, guys. I mean, if it's what I think you're talking about, bro, then amen. Dragon really looks like Luffy here, but Gear 4 Snake Man. That's one thing I do want to say. If you look at the eyes and pay attention to that, you see Luffy. I know some people are like, bro, I don't see the resemblance whatsoever between the two. It's right there then. It's right there then. And yeah, man. So shout out to Dragon. I'm happy that we're actually getting to see a little bit more of him. I know people are like, oh, he's not this rear admiral, vice admiral. Brother, I'm actually glad that he has this rank, because if he went on to become, which he did, the world's most dangerous criminal, the world would be aware of the fact that this guy held a position of high notoriety, I should say, in the Marines that people are familiar with. The fact that he's like a Navy sailor, ensign, he probably never gotten as high as captain, and I don't think after this, he never does. Before he makes a change, nobody would be aware of that fact, which is good at keeping the secret that he was at one point a Marine. That he once tried to go for justice, maybe in his own way, and then completely went off the rails because of what happened on this island. So, Dragon looks like Moria to me. I mean, hey, bro. I don't think so, but hey, man, listen, man. Maybe they had an interaction. Who knows, bro? Because I know he definitely did save a couple kids at some point. Maybe he helped him. So, the next page after, this stuff I absolutely loved. It's one of those things where it's like you appreciate after the fact, especially, right? So we see here in the chapter, prison ship of the Navy, taking everybody, whatever it is, to God Valley for the rabbits and stuff after. And this is where we get to see Ginny and Ivankov. They were able to escape, go to be together and stuff. They relayed whatever information they need to, because again, Ginny revealed to us during Kuma's flashback that they relayed whatever was going on, but the prizes and all that stuff over in God Valley. It made its way to Roger, made its way to Rocks, and led to the demons pulling up on the island. But the thing is, I what I really love about this whole thing is what happens in the next page more so is the fact that when you see this passion from Ivankov and from mostly from Ivankov, that we're not gonna accept defeats, miracles can happen, all that kind of stuff that's there, and knowing that maybe onto the side, another room, whatever, that Kuma is hearing all of this. And I know, listen, I actually prefer the translation that we had gotten on the Thursday versus this one because I didn't know that slaves would be so feisty. The way that translation was before, that they've not given up hope in a way, I think is so beautiful, bro. The fact that he hasn't even met them yet, and it's like, yo, like they haven't given up yet. They like he would expect them to, and it's like I like that way more than this translation myself personally. But again, this is the official. We can't judge it. Whatever, we can't say that it's wrong. Whatever, it's obsolete. But for what I see in the moment stuff right there, I think it's really cool that Kuma has that moment right there, man. So shout out to my boy. And of course, we know they're meeting in afterwards. He was a fighter. He's always had that spirit. Absolutely. Ginny and Ivankov actually a brother and sister. I think they are. I'm pretty sure that they actually are, unless told otherwise, whether it be in an SPS or not. Yeah, bro, he's just 17 years old in the chapter. Of course, he's just a fodder marine. Even Kizaru now becomes an admiral when he's like at least like 20 to 30 years old. Yeah, and that's the thing though. And I feel like I'm not talking about the fact that like he never grew because of his age, or whatever, or anything like that. But I think it's good for the story that he never got a higher position in the Marines, because the people that he's trying to fight for would then be like, hold on a minute, you were a Marine at some point in time. And not just like an ensign or whatever. Let's say if you were a vice admiral or rear admiral, whatever, then yeah, it's like, what are we doing, bro? So I like the fact that he kept it as low as possible, Oda, in terms of what his actual rank was at the time, so that when we actually get to see him make these changes and stuff, it's not like that people can go and say, well, you were a huge time Marine and stuff, and then here we are. But it's like, no, like that wasn't the case. So that was good on Oda. Now, coming off this stuff, bro, I cannot wait to see what he actually looks like. Because I think he's 15 at the time. But it don't matter if he came out the womb. It didn't matter if he took his first steps. It didn't matter if he learned how to fly. Because the boy was born fly, bro. Morgan's, bro, that hat is so fire, bro. The cape, the suspenders, everything, bro. His birds got Patek Philippe. They're rocking hats. They got chains. They got the jewels. Bro, one of them might be a spy, I think, based on the thing, but it don't matter. Bro, he looks so fire, bro. I can't believe what I'm seeing, dog. Bro, Morgan's, I think he had to have been at least like around 15, 16 years old during this time period, but was already the president of the World Economic Journal. So he was out here putting out the news, providing and everything that's there. And yo, the fact, and I have to read this translation real quick. How does some kid's local paper with a fancy name get an intel network like that? Care for all, they'll snuff you out. Now, I'm glad that's there, because these are CP agents, Cyberpol agents that are saying, watch your mouth, talking with this boy, because he will take you out. Bro, Morgans is out here running the newspaper, but in the background, move like a mafioso. And you got Cyberpol agents talking like this about this guy. Like, it's absolutely mad. And obviously, he has some information himself about what had happened, a scoop that he was hearing about, that he's going to leak. And people on Pirate Island are going to learn about this real quick. And obviously, I would assume it's the stuff with Shaki, but it could also be the stuff also with the prizes and all that. But I think this would make more sense if it was the Shaki stuff, because the prizes is something that Ginny and Ivankov were aware of. Whereas with Morgan's, it makes more sense with Shaki. Let me know what you guys think on that. Do you think that Morgan's, when he was relaying the information leaking to Pirate Island, what he learned, was it about Shaki, or was it about the prizes and stuff that were there on God Valley? Morgan's a hidden top tier fighter. I think he is, bro. I think that one moment that we saw in the blimp where he put his hands on that one agent, bro, I think he is. I definitely think he is, bro. The theory of Morgan's being one of the Roger crews, like the human with the hat, has been debunked. Yeah, I think so too, bro. I mean, granted, I wouldn't have been opposed to it. If he was the one that came out the egg, it would have been crazy if that was the case. But with the fact that we know that he's actually human, there's going to be something more to it. Listen, bro. Don't be surprised. Man, I really don't want to say it, but it's like, bro. If he is revealed to have the D in his name, if he's revealed to have the initial D, do not be surprised. Do not be surprised. All right, bro. Do not be surprised. Okay. But shout out to Morgan. Shout out to the Economic Journal. We subscribe every week, bro. We get our news cool. Yes, my Pelican comes through, dap up and everything, and then he provides me with the news, bro. We love to see it. But yeah, so the prizes. Yeah, say I tell you, bro, right there. It definitely, he probably has the D in his name. But anyways, so now as we go over back to Pirate Island, and I love the fact that we see that the island itself has like the heart shape eyes and everything too. The fact that Shaki's okay, she's alive, everything that's there. The reaction, I mean, that's like that just got their hopes back up. For those that really cared about her, their hopes are back up. And Wang Ji's reaction is enough where if us the readers, you gotta get him out of here, bro. You gotta get him out of here because this was some absolute nonsense from them, bro. Because they're like, yo, it seems fishy, this source of yours. Should we actually trust this? I'm like, brother, after I saw you counting up every single belly that you had on your hands, you for sure had something to do with the fact that we lost Shaki. So, yeah. Wang Ji, what happens to you in the future with Blackbeard, bro, it was just desserts, bro. If they are completely gone from the story, I have no issues with it because of what happened here. But they go and talk afterwards. The Navy's been taking action, so it seems she's a prize in the Celestial Dragon game. So that means whoever kidnapped her was with the government. Damn it. Now, that's the thing. Is it someone that betrayed the Rock's pirates that led to her being taken? She will tell us. Shaki will tell us if that was the case. But I think it's more likely it's probably a God's Knight that ended up doing so. I saw earlier someone saying killing him. I think it could be a possibility it was killing him. Listen, bro. What if it, just to keep things simple, it might have been Garling that may have gone and done that. Or it might be someone else we don't know at all. That is like a hidden, like, I don't know, a Dark Knight or something within the Holy Knights that went and done that. Because we still are going to see a lot more members outside of the Maynard family, outside of the Ronier, I think it's called, the one that Killingham is from and stuff, like the Shepherd family, like all that. We're going to see a lot more of them coming. So after that, the reaction from everybody else, though. I mean, Whitebeard hearing that this is like a celestial manhunt, a celestial dragon manhunt. But the reactions here, though, from both Kaido and from Big Mom. Big Mom specifically, when she hears the fact that there's some devil fruits up at stake and knowing what it can do for her kids in terms of their powers and stuff, that what they can gain, because at the end of the day, we know what she's about. She's trying to gain as much power for herself, for her family, in her pursuit of the One Piece. So her mind was like, oh, yeah, okay. My kids, this will be good for them too. But I also know for Kaido, that'll be good. And of course, we know the lifelong debt that Kaido owes to Big Mom for getting her fruit, getting his fruits from her after, right? And I also like here, it's very minuscule too, but like Struzen like saying to, you know, the crew, like, maybe this is a trap. Maybe there's a purpose of why they're trying to go and get us here on this island with all these prizes for some reason, which we'll get into more detail on the next page. I think if it was Garling, he would have killed everybody at the bar, including Wang and the informant. I think so too. I think he probably would have done so too, for sure. Because, you know, we want to get rid of everybody that's there. So I think it's more likely, like, from our own people, it was probably Wang Ji. But if not, it was probably somebody else. But it had to have been a reason why that's the case. But they could also have been working in conjunction with Wang Ji. Yeah. So Cat with the dragon fruit, I mean, that would have been crazy. That actually would have been so crazy. Wang Ji, Mayor, what's going on, bro? Leo Dog, what's going on, fam? So that stuff happens there. Rox is like, yo, shut up, bro. Shut up, bro. You know the kid with the when he's making the burgers and stuff, whatever, like, yo, shut up, bro. Shut up, bro. And he just says, plain and simple, bro. If you're not committed to the mission that we're about to go on, you gotta stay right here. Because the rest of us, we're going to God Valley. And he made it apparent right there and then. We're going to get Shaki. And more unlikely as a subsidiary thing too, prior to the talk, we're going to claim some stuff that we need to. The Roger Pirate stuff too, it's very tiny as well, but I really like this as well. Where it's like, you see the energy, you know about them. I know people have had their feelings about Roger during this stretch of the flashback because the personality, everything that's there, it's more Luffy. And I know like people are saying like Rock seems a lot cooler. He seems like someone that we can connect way more with. But I think that's purposely because of the fact that Roger himself, his personality, again, he's like what, 17, 18, I think around this time. Clarify for me in the comments his actual age. But you know what I mean. He's young. He's still a young buck in this whole thing. So of course he's gonna act a certain way and all about that because that's just who he is. But I think he's somewhere in his 20s. But even so, you guys know the point. He's a young guy and stuff, so that's the thing. But he's like, okay, they're in God Valley. Okay, bet. We're going right there, right, boys? And I love that even though it's everybody that's saying it, the fact that that panel, when it shows Rayleigh there, just like, just like in the motion, no question. Like, that is the given, bro. He was 17 at that point. I think he was 17 at that point. But yeah, just clarify for me afterwards. Because, I mean, obviously, because, certain stuff after the fact and everything. But I think he's a little bit older. I think he's definitely a little bit older. But yeah, so Roger is like, okay, but Rox is also on the move as well. So we can't let him get a jump on us at all. And then just, again, the stuff with Garp too, bro. Oh my god. I mean, that conversation with him, Suru, Sengoku, when they were talking with Kong, and you see the personality that he has and how he wants to go about things. I'm telling you right now, I cannot wait for that moment when the God Valley incident actually happens, that we see how much of a change that end up having on him. Because it had an effect on his own sense of justice, his beliefs. Like, he tries at times to play it off, and I know pre-time skip, you would look at things like, how could he act one way, knowing now what we know post-time skip? But again, people cope in different manners, and he's definitely someone that I think does his job when it comes to at least doing that. I have a feeling that Ochaku or Wang Ji has told the world government that Delphus that rocks were hunting. The fact that they would pretty much treat him as a Yonko and let him keep Pirate Island means that he must have done a lot for them. Possibly. And then it also makes a lot of sense afterwards why Blackbeard would go back to put him going to Hachinosu for himself, obviously because it's his dad's island, but as a get back on them. I think everything's like written in the stars when things come full circle. But this Tyler box right here, man, it took just the tiniest bit of classified intel to set off all the fiercest warriors of the sea. You know how many monsters during this era were around at the time, and they go and pull up in this one specific place for an incident that was so crazy that the island had to go. Just to reaffirm us how insane this whole thing becomes. Now, the next page here, and I'm going to go up even more. When you see this massive ship, and I didn't even look at the sigil and stuff too from the one underneath because it has like the black tarp, but it was presumed, of course, it was the Rocks Pirates. But the one in front of them being heralds, bro, if you was anybody else and you try to go for smoke, it was game. It was game. It was never going to be anything more than not even friendly. It'd just be a straight ass whooping. But the very first time since their fallouts back on Elbaf, Harold and Rox meet again, bro. And this stuff was just so crazy to me, man. Bro, I was told to stop a certain pirate crew that was infatuated with a single woman, Rox. If we make use of our strength, it will be child's play to sink your tiny ship. And then goes to relay him afterwards that a government ship was off the coast and stuff, so he had to be careful of certain things they had to say. But Rox was, bro. And you think this is winning you points with the world government? Don't underestimate what we can do, King of the Giant Oafs. Does it please you to serve the government that sits on its comfortable perch and watch us destroy one another? I suppose it does, because you're the madman who wants to change Elbaf no matter what. So this does a really good job here because, again, it's not like Rox is looking at him and he's like, hey, bro, like, I don't understand where you're coming from and stuff. He does clearly understand that Harold wants to do everything possible to give Elbaf the type of life that they want to live in harmony with other people. Like, he understands that. I think we all are aware of that. But how he's going about it, especially because if anyone knows how the world government moves, it's Rox. He will tell you that right there. So there's a lot of stuff there. I feel like when people are looking at, Harold's in the wrong, Harold's completely like, he's in the wrong for all the stuff that he is doing and going about things, and especially working with the world government. It's a thing of where someone who has really good intentions and seeing them make the wrong moves is an act of realism. This is just how it is. How far is someone willing to go for their ideals to be right? And we're seeing how it's going for Harold, and it's not going good. because Ja Rule, Ja Rule, I call him Ja Rule personally because murder. The fact that people are telling him, especially Ja Rule, I know what you're doing in your heart is a good thing, but you have to understand there's a lot of damage that has been done. The reputation of the Giants, especially those in Elbath, the world does not give you a chance to redeem yourself because it was just too much bad stuff that was happening during that time. So it can't be fixed overnight. It's gonna take time and time. That patience is something that Harold doesn't have. He thinks it can just happen and we're good, and it doesn't. So again, I think it's one of the best things that Oda has done with this whole thing with Rox and Harold, the conflict of interest and stuff, but how one can understand exactly where the other is coming from. And it's not like he wants to do this. That's his boy, that's his friend. But it's like, bro, when you're too gone, man. How did you choose your name as Commodore Laz? So it's actually funny, right? I was like, I just wanted to go by Laz, like, because I've always been on Laz my whole life. It's deprived from Lazaro, like my actual name. But I was thinking, like, I didn't want to be called King. I didn't want to be called Captain. And I was trying to find different things here and there that would make the most sense of what kind of name I can go by that would just fit. And it's more so like on a personal level for me. So I'm revealing to you guys. I think I've talked about this once before or not, but my grandfather had at one point in time served in the military in Portugal during the things that were going on in Angola, and he only gone as high as the rank of Commodore. No cap. And he was discharged from the army and all that because there were certain things that they want him to do he didn't want to be involved in. So as a terms of him being like, I guess, like, when you go off the course of what you're supposed to be doing and stuff, like I wouldn't say he was AWOL because he didn't lose his mind or nothing, but he was just like, bro, I can't do it. I just don't have the stomach, bro. So I think it's a misdemeanor. I think it's what it is. He left, then eventually he got discharged afterwards. I think that's the other term. He got discharged, and then yeah, so that was the rank that he had. And I was thinking to myself, because how much I love my grandfather, how much he meant to me during the time that I had with him and stuff, I thought that would be the coolest thing in the world to have that name, because I know it's a rank in One Piece, but that's like the closest he was gotten, and seeing how far you can take that name and where it can go. So that's where Commodore exactly comes from my gramps. So shout out to him, and yeah, man. But yeah, bro, shout out to Grandpa Laz. Yeah, I'm telling you, bro, Mavuvu, what a man, bro. I still have so many fond memories of that guy. So every time like I'm reading this series and stuff, and I say the name and stuff, like I don't show it off, but like at times it does come to my mind, thinking about him and everything. But yeah, so that's where it comes from, guys. But then as we get into the next part of the chapter right after, and actually we'll put this real quickly because DJ just put this in right now. Laz, if Ida is still alive and Ida is Moza, it's a bit sus since mothers in One Piece don't make it out alive in a flashback. Maybe she'll be the first mother to come out alive. I think so too. I think she is definitely alive and she's somewhere else on the island. And it makes sense given on the conversation that they were having with Loki on the Den and Mushi. It makes a lot of sense that they would be the one there. So yeah, I definitely do think that we're going to see them being alive and everything. Yeah, Grandpa loves a gold. He's definitely a conqueror, bro. I appreciate it, Winston. Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys hearing that out, because I know like for some they may not care or whatever like that, but like yeah, that's the sentiment that's for me, man. So in a sense, he was really my Davy D Jones, or he was my Garp. That's essentially what my gramps was to me, man. Yeah, his intentions are so good, but the brain cells though not so much, and that's exactly how I'm looking at this whole thing with Garp, with Harold. I feel like with him, it's like, again, I think that's why he's such an interesting character, because it's like with Odin, we saw like how that whole thing was played out and everything, but with Harold, it's just like I see that good intention. I see him like he's trying to work towards making it better, but it's not, and then seeing things fall off from him on the wayside, I think is just like, and how he's like, it's really weird how they put it into wording and stuff after, but like again, a person with good intentions, how far they're willing to go to make their ideals a reality at the expense of the relationships that are being broken on the wayside with Haruden, with Loki, and even with his own people for how long he's been gone. Because him doing this right now is causing probably more tension back home in Elbaf and all that. So yeah, I really, really, really like the character of Harold. And I think he's probably one of the best usages of the character and the delving into that Oda has done in quite a long time. Yeah, art mirrors reality. Yeah, man. But now the conversation between Zabek and Harold, which again, I think I think you could easily make an argument right now. This is the biggest part of the entire chapter right here because this reveal, like the whole couple pages after even two, but just this part of the chapter is the biggest part of the chapter. So let's read into it and then we'll give the part into it. So I'm sure you've heard where we're going and why. While I'm only going to tell this next part to you, it's not even for my own crew to hear. So this is how you know he viewed Harold in a whole different light compared to anybody else on his crew. What he was about to tell him was something that he probably would not tell anybody else. But the fact that this was his boy, he was willing to do it, man. And it's insane information that you can use against somebody. But again, bro. Lads, the Joy Boy and Davy Jones are two separate people and they're rivals like two clans. Maybe Monkey is also a fake name. I keep seeing that thing there. And DJ, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like it. I would not like it if that's what it is. If he's called Joy D Luffy, bro, I wouldn't like it personally. The Monkey family, it has to be as is. I don't want it to... This is one of those exceptions where it makes sense because you're trying to hide something of somebody that may have a deeper meaning and probably was the catalyst of what ended up leading to the Ancient Kingdom falling, Joy Boy failing to make their other end of the promise to Poseidon. It just... No. Like, me personally, I hope that's not going to be the case. Let it be a one-time thing that it happens for Teach, his family, Rocks, all that and stuff, whatever, with Davy. I don't want that same thing with Luffy and them, with Joy Boy. No. It's one thing where it's like, okay, they may have a tie there, but I don't want that thing. No. The Monkey family's got to be the Monkey family, bro. So anyways, what is His Majesty talking about over there? Wali Dade. He's having a toast while my beloved Shaki is waiting to be rescued. Now, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Shiki's hilarious as hell, bro. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm so glad that we're actually getting Shiki content. Even if it's, like, very tiny. But, like, it's just really awesome just gonna see, like, his persona. He, in a way, it almost feels like he's the buggy of the crew. But, like, he has a bit more rawness to him because he was a mobster and stuff. And also, because we're doing this deep dive and everything, too, I love how next to Shiki is Kyo, Silver Axe. But right next to him is Gil Blaster, bro. Shout out to Gil Blaster. Again, very tiny panels and stuff, little drawings and stuff, but he's right there and there. And shout out to Gil, bro. I know we got him to see him. I think it was back in Thriller Bark with the others and stuff, but like, yo, just shout out to him, bro. Just Top Gun man, bro. But anyways, the truth is I've got a hidden name, and right here, Davy D. Sebek. It's not Rocks. It's the name of a clan that I suspect the world government has long tried to cover up. The descendants of the legendary pirate Davy D. Jones. We took root in the criminal underground and continue to eke out a living even today. So the big reveal of this chapter is that he doesn't go by Rocks. Now, the Rocks part is very interesting. I want to know why he went by that name, kind of like with my own and stuff, whatever. But it's like, I want to know why specifically Rocks. There had to be some kind of reason for that being there to replace the Davy D. Sebek. The easy answer could be that could be like his mom's or like name, whatever, or something. But the Davy seems likely is probably from his dad's side, from that lineage that's there. But it's crazy the fact that this man, the fact that we know that Davy D. Teach is a thing. Marshall D. Teach is not Marshall D. Teach. It's not even Rocks D. Teach. It's Davy D. Teach. So yeah, that's gonna be a crazy reveal once that actually comes to fruition to the people. When they know about this stuff, it's gonna be so wild, bro. But Davy Jones actually having, I know we go back all the way to Long Ring, Long Island when the Davy back fight was talked about. Robin was talking to Chopper, I believe, about the whole thing that's there. I think it's so fascinating how that one mention of that character has now spun into them being one of the most important background characters in the entire story that lays shape to where the One Piece world is today. I think it's just really fascinating, man. But again, their name still has a bit of allure to them. They're scraping by here and there, but in the underground, the streets know who they are exactly, right? I actually did Davy D. Jones as Joy Boy. I would love the idea that Joy Boy's direct lineage is not Luffy, but Blackbeard. That would hit so hard, be poetic and unexpected. It would be too. I think that will be a crazy reveal. Is that, you know how when Roger was saying that, or Whitebeard was saying, Roger, you're not the one that Roger is looking for, right? It would be crazy though if it was something like that where Joy Boy's direct lineage is tied more to Blackbeard. It's like, okay, that would be just absolutely nuts. Because then it's like, of course, for Blackbeard hearing that, it's like, yeah, I am. It is for me, bro. Like, what? Like, what are we talking about? But yeah, again, I don't know how Oda's gonna do the whole thing afterwards, but with tying those little knots and stuff here together. But bro, it just gives me more reason to be excited when it comes to the Void Century. I just can't wait for that. Um, but as I continue talking after, my timing was either great or terrible. You see, 2 years ago, I had a kid, and to make sure that the danger couldn't befall them both, I sent my wife and child to my homeland and told them to seek the Davy clan for help. Now, if you guys remember this, I think this was an SBS or I think it was in a VV card or something, but I know this is something that Oda had done. At the time, I think it was said that Blackbeard had actually two sisters. Like we saw a drawing of Ace looking at their family, what assumingly was the wife, and he had like two other sisters, right? So it kind of almost confirms to me that if that is going to be properly into the story and stuff, I think that's something that we could see that where Teach is the first one born, he's the eldest sibling, sisters come into the mix, possibly ends up losing him over time, and then that leads to him meeting up with Whitebeard and then beginning his whole Keikaku and everything, right? And then as the conversation continues, I see your kin and your wife and your child. Yeah, your kin being the clan, your wife and the kid are there in your homeland. And why would you admit this exploitable weakness to me? Now, when this part gets spoken to by Zebek, there, you know what this was to me? And I hope I'm not the only one. And please let me know in the comments if you felt this way too. Do you remember the moment when Shanks and Whitebeard, because this is what this conversation felt like right now to me, is literally them two when they were talking about Ace and Blackbeard. You remember when Shanks said, I want you to stop Ace. That whole thing where he's like, the only scar that aches is the one right here. And they're talking about that. And that felt like the shift of the tone of the conversation and where it was going to go into a madness. This is this for me. My home is God Valley. I can feel whatever OST's playing, it's dead silence. The wind is moving. The atmosphere is tightening up. It's hard to breathe when that gets said right there. And Harold immediately, bro. So the government did this as a means to lure you into their clutches. Nah. Celestial dragons are conversing on that island. They don't want me coming there. That was a miscalculation on their part. Because the thing is, they know if Zebek pulls up, the type of violence that we know he's capable of. This is a guy who went and destroyed an admiral and put them in the ground before he was officially a pirate. Imagine what he will do on God Valley the second that you just put his wife, his kid, and his clan in danger. And we don't even know if he's rocking up with a fruit, which I assume if he was, it's probably the Yami Yami no Mi. But if it's something else entirely, I cannot wait to see what it is. And I love how Oda has kept that completely a mystery around his character. I think it was a road to Laugh Tale, maybe. Was his timing good or bad? I think it was good. For him, in total, like, I'll put it this way. If it was like you asked Teach that question, was a good thing your dad had you now instead of after, I think he'll say now. Because obviously after, he wouldn't be in the mix. So he would have to say, yes, I'm grateful the fact that it happened now because my motion, the plans, all that wouldn't have happened without happening the way it did. Also, last, why is it called God Valley? I know it's just an island name and it doesn't matter, but O'Hara actually theorized that God Valley was Joy Boy's homeland if he was kicked out of the ancient kingdom. That would be very fascinating if that's the case. Shout out to O'Hara as well, bro, to Manu, bro. I haven't spoken to him in a long time. My fellow Bayern. Well, I can't say fellow because I don't mind Bayern like that. I like Dortmund a little bit more on the German side stuff, even though Man United is my team. But I know he's a Bayern fan and stuff. But shout out to my boy though. Hope he's doing well. But I know like with him, yeah, he's definitely made a lot of theories and stuff. And some I have to still go back and see a few of his videos for that. But it is fascinating. You pointed if that's what he's pointing out that God Valley could be Joy Boy's homeland. It's a very real possibility that could be the case there. So. And if he was kicked out of the ancient kingdom, because here's the thing, I think Joy Boy more than likely did die though during the events of the Void Century. I don't think it was like he died a little bit after. But again, there's so much information that still needs to be provided once we get that flashback. But I wouldn't be opposed to that. There wouldn't be a thing. But again, I also have my own theory. If you guys have been with this channel for a long time, you guys know I had a video that I put on here that I talked about that the Merijawa is actually the ancient kingdom, right? I've done a whole video. If you want to see that, definitely go and check it out. Basically just talking about the fact that, again, like if you're the enemy, you've taken over your ops territory, and you want to submerge it as much as possible. Destroying it is one thing, but because of the fact they're on the red line, I think it would make the most sense that the ancient kingdom was there and Marijois was on top. Like they took over, they covered up everything. That's why the insides look as old and as moldy, and the straw hat's there, because these are things that belong at one point in time to the ancient kingdom. But again, that video I have out. If you want to watch it, it's on the channel. But yeah, man. Oh no, it's gone. So, oh, is he actually? Wait, hold on. No, hold on. I'm gonna check my phone real quick. I want to check my phone real quick. I know this is the thing too, though. With Yap Piece, though, we're gonna be yapping and stuff about other things as well. So I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of that and stuff. But yeah, man. But we're gonna be doing a whole bunch of that and everything there. Okay, I see Ben Jacobs. Onana is close to joining Traveling Spar after giving his green light. Oh boy, please tell me he's gone, bro. Officially, please tell me he's officially gone, bro. Oh my god, that would make me so happy, man. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was excited after the final in 2023 about Onana, but hey, bro, it's man, he had to go, But back on the One Piece stuff, again, from the Appin. But this whole thing right here, the reveal of him having his homeland, his God Valley and stuff, I think is just like what a tone shift itself that it gave here. Because then it goes into the next part. It feels as though some great act of fate is pulling all the strings behind the scenes. And I think you can almost sense in a way that this is like Emu, possibly, because we do know that Zebek had met them at some point. Maybe this is their way of trying to get them out of the paint. I don't know. Kidnapping Shaki was their fatal mistake. As long as my wife and kid escape, I don't care about the rest. And that's where it gets interesting, right? Because it depends on how you take that part right there in the statement. Because I know some people were trying to say too that they weren't like the Rock's pirates were going there for Shaki. I want to make that very different. It's different from Zebek. Zebek is obviously going there for his people, his wife and his kid, but he also cares for Shaki too, so he's going there. But the Rock's pirates, the hoodlums, right, are there for Shaki. They don't give a damn about Zebek's wife and kid. But we're seeing out here, that was the other part. If it was just for whatever, that's fine. But now, and whatever happens outside of that, bro, hey, man. Hey, bro. It is what it is. Whoever's side fortune is on, Harold, it doesn't feel like mine. So lend me your aid. And that's the thing. He's basically telling him, bro, the way things are going right now, the cards are stacked against me. I have probably a 0 chance of making this happen. Or if I have a chance, it's a lot closer to 0 than it is to a positive. And he wants his boy. He's like, yo, I'm asking you one more time, bro. Please lend me your aid. And I do think it's something that Harold is going to come to regret by the time we get to the end of his life, at the end of the flashback and stuff. Because it's clear as day what the answer is. I refuse. I'd rather sink your ship right now. That's your choice. So be it. And the funny part is, though, is that in the other translation, originally, they did say, like, don't do anything, whatever, or don't interfere was the big thing. Here he says, don't attack him. Whereas in Zebek's case, he does not give a damn. He goes straight in, starts attacking right afterwards. Though hard to believe, once every 3 years, the Celestial Dragons choose an island for their resources and an unaffiliated island with the government. Now, the interesting thing about this, and I saw some people brought this up, and I don't know how likely this is of an idea, if it's true or not. I don't think it is, but maybe, who knows. But I saw some people say that the reason that Kaido went to Wano was to prevent the chances of Wano being used as a next Celestial Dragon manhunt. I was like, I'm trying to ponder that thought, and you guys let me know if that's, like, we know why he went there for the resource and stuff, but again, the resources are of huge value, and if the world government had that for Wano, then it's like, that's a big deal. But it would be wild if that was Kaido's reason originally for going there, and then just, became what he was. But I'm very curious to know what you guys think. Do you think that he actually went to Wano originally from all this, was to prevent the next manhunt happening on Wano? I'm curious. Even with the borders closed, they would have tried to attempt to find ways. We know that the Marines try to make their way in there with Drake and all that and stuff. I'm curious what you guys think. And carry out a manhunt game there, slaughtering all the natives. And we see everyone's reaction, what was going on and stuff, how crazy things are happening. And then we get into the last 2 pages. Now, I know it's on double spread side, so we're going to focus more so on the top part here and then work our way afterwards. So, Shaki We see her almost literally boa-esque, the mark of the Kujas and stuff, clearly being handcuffed. We're laying right now from the people in the Such Dragons. This is going to be one of the top prizes that are there. And this is the day of the God Valley incident. So once we get to the next chapter, it's not like tomorrow. It's not going to be next week, next month, next year. It's going to be today. So the next chapter, 1160, we are getting that God Valley incident, and it's going to be so time, bro. Now, in addition to the rare and exotic devil fruits, we have our grand prize of the event. Hailing from the Isle of the Woman within the calm belt of the Grand Lion, the previous empress of the Amazons, praised as the most beautiful woman in the world. Her name is Shaki Yaku. Well, Shaku Yaku, but our beloved Shaki. And everyone's reactions are there. The no, take her for a wife, make her like all the different stuff, bro. You're gonna make her a wife, a slave, whatever it is, and stuff. Just madness, bro. And then we see that Shepherd Summers is actually here. So he, again, we know he was like pretty old and stuff in the present time where they are right now in Elbath, but the fact that he's actually here and has an involvement is a pretty big deal there. And he's like, if he goes and wins her, straight up, she's gonna be my slave. She ain't gonna be no wife, no nothing, whatever. But we see there from Garling, going off the conversation from before they had with his girl, before doing what he did. She's my wife. Stop dreaming summer. So he already put it in his mind. He was trying to get Shaki. And it tells you again, when she told Luffy that these pirates, Garp and all of them were trying to claim her and everything, it's because of the fact of the value that she possessed there that is so mad. Angel Manning with the 9.99, my boy, bro. Listen, bro. I hope you have more messages and stuff, bro, because I really appreciate the love right there on the dono and stuff, bro. But hey, man, I appreciate you, bro. The Angels, Anaheim, I always have some respect and stuff for them, bro. With Mike Trout, what he's doing and everything over there, bro, I really appreciate it, man. So, Angel, appreciate you for the donation, brother. If you have a message, bro, like say something, bro, because like for you, I will definitely stop. But if you get for guys, if you want to get more of an immediate response and stuff, you want to throw a donation, by all means, bro. It helps out with the channel and stuff, bro. I really appreciate it. So then we see from the Manyard, I think the name is and stuff of the clan and everything. They go. Like the one that we saw with the hat and everything with the tongue out from originally in the Kuma flashback, we also see Gunko here. With you here, Gunko, we might win a trophy in the family competition. Now, this also confirms here that the Gunko that we see here is the same one as the one that we're seeing right now currently in the present time. I need that to be delved into when we get into the whole stuff afterwards with Brook. Because it's clear as day he has some kind of ties with the Holy Knights or something from back then, prior to his time being with the Rumbar Pirates. It's going to be very interesting to see like how that's going to be delved into and talked about a lot more and everything. The Manmare. I appreciate the clarification on that though, Akeem. Imu made Gunko immortal? Probably. That's probably what it was that ended up happening. So they have that talk. Now, this part right here, bro. I'm just showing love to one of my favorite content creators. I don't be having much to say. Angel, I greatly appreciate you, brother. I greatly appreciate you, man. Just on that, bro, I greatly appreciate it, bro. So, but like I said, but if you ever do, bro, I will stop by all means for you, brother. Greatly appreciate it, man. So now as we get into the last parts of this chapter, the final page, Dragon pulls up into a room and sees a woman there. Blood trail, everything that's there. Get my children off this island, please. Don't let him have them. Now, because of the way the paneling was, I didn't look at the blood part. I was looking more so at the direct points in the chapter when we read it originally. For whatever reason, I had thought this was going to be the thing on Teach and stuff, whatever, because we see down below afterwards Teach and his mom. The first appearance actually seeing Teach as a little baby. It's just crazy to me because I couldn't imagine. I thought right there then she was gone. Shanks' mom was completely gone. The fact that she still had the will from taking the blade in her stomach and then going and taking her kids and bringing them over. Now, I don't think I see a stroller. I don't think so because she's like hunchback or whatever, like to the side, leaned over. Actually, no, no, we don't. No, it's not there. It's not there. So it's clear that she's probably holding on to the kids just after that. She's holding on to the kids. They're with the mom and everything, and Dragon is going to be the one responsible afterwards for basically trying to get Shanks to safety. When Shanks ends up in that treasure chest, it's because of him. Now, the other part I'm gonna say too, I think when he ended up putting Shanks, because this is what I think ended up happening. I think they put them originally in separate chests to protect them. Because let's say if you get one, the other will be safe. If you put both of them in there, you run the risk that Garling would come in and take the both of them. And it's clear that by the events after God Valley, Shanks ends up with Roger, Shamrock ends up afterwards with Garling. So Dragon being a huge point. Bro, this is why I want to see a conversation so badly between Dragon and Shanks, knowing how pivotal Dragon is to all this. He's the reason why Shanks was able to have the life that he had after the events of God Valley, because he put him in that chest that led him to Roger. Just absolutely madness, bro. Lizard, what's going on, fam? What's going on, fam? I heard you from a long time, brother. What's going on, bro? Yeah, mother's strength, bro. I'm telling you, bro. It was so mad to me that whole thing had happened. But again, considering what we know about Porcus de Rouge and what she was able to do for Ace, keeping him in the womb longer past the period of giving birth, same thing on Shanks' mom. She took one massive hit that should have killed her, and she took the kids and said, nah, I'm not letting that monster get my babies, bro. And Dragon having a big part in that in terms of trying to get them separated away from that demon in Garling. My love for Dragon, bro, right there and then, man. Especially as young as he was as a rookie in the Marines. It's just so crazy, bro. Oda's been on a legendary stretch. I'm telling you, fam. Bro. He has been, honestly, bro, I know people feel the way they do about the early stages of Elbaf with the road stuff and whatever. I don't feel that way whatsoever. And it's not perfect. I'm not also saying that it's perfect, because it's not. But I think from that point to where we are right now, this has been the best stretch of chapters I've read in the series in a long time. I think probably since, like, I know you could say the Reverie portion of the arc and everything that was going on during Reverie was insane as well. But like this, where it's like every week I've had something where I've enjoyed and loved. Like, it's been absolute cinema, man. But then next panel we see with Teach, the mom. I assume we're going to see in the next chapter. We just have to. Like, we got to see these moms, bro. Oda, mothers matter in One Piece. I want to make sure that's put. The women matter in One Piece. You need to tell me that they do by showing me, bro. Because I need to see the people that have tried to keep their kids intact, happy, with life still in them. You know what I mean? So come here, Teach. It's all right. You have to live through this, bro. I'm telling you right now, I don't know if it happens next chapter. I don't know if it's going to happen in the chapter after. But by the end of this flashback, Teach is going to see his mom and dad die right before his eyes. I think that's going to be the thing that creates the monster that he goes on to become. And people, and listen, I'm one of them. I am one of them. I've said, Teach is a snake. He's a rat. He's a coward, all this and that. But if this is what he had to experience when he, look at the age that he is compared to what we saw Shanks and Shamrock. That moment, watching his mom and dad die before his eyes, especially his dad, and probably watching him wild on everything, shaped the mind that he would go on to have for the rest of his life. I'm telling you right here, bro, Teach automatically becomes one of the greatest characters. And like, Rocks already has become one of the greatest characters One Piece has ever seen. But the upscale it does afterwards and the understanding of who Teach is going to hit like crack, bro. I promise you, man. And it's going to change my opinion, because I've always hated him and everything. But it's like, brother, he's going to go up there for me, man. Like, his jersey is going up in the rafters when all is said and done, man. We still don't know Kuma's mom's name. Yeah, I mean, that, well, the dad we know. I think the dad we know. I'm pretty sure that we know the dad's name and stuff. Oh my god, it was oh my god, it was Clap. Was it Clap? I think his dad was name was Clap, right? I'm pretty sure his dad's name was Clap, but I think the mom, yeah, we still need to know that. We're probably gonna get in the SPS, probably there. Yeah, Oda's gonna go crazy. Tragic backstory loading. I mean, facts, bro. Yeah, man. It's going close to Dragon. How she dressed at Elbaf and God Valley is very different. I think possibly, but then again, there's a mom that's definitely gonna be involved in that, and that's gonna be explained when that time comes. But then we get into the last part of the chapter here. Bro, this is just crazy to me, bro, that y'all just saying this out here in the cut, bro. In the promo, just saying it out in the cut, man. Lastly, every world noble is aware of them. Which is fascinating that this is said. Because Charles' sister, and I'm going to double check real quickly Uh, Actually, no. Let me check on my phone just real quick because I know because I have the filter and stuff, so it's gonna look a little wonky. Real quickly, just let me check. But you guys know who I'm talking about, though, right? In the let me see, Charlos, sister. Uh, Shalaria, Saint Shalaria. But you know who I'm talking about, right? Do you remember when they were discussing? I think during Vegapunk's in Vegapunk's speech. Remember how they were talking about all the stuff that was there, and she had no idea what the heck was going on and stuff, right? Like it was something that like there were certain social dragons I think that knew or they were like unaware, and she was like the one that was like, wait, what? Like, she was like not understanding what was going on. I had thought for the longest of times that the social dragons, at least the current gen ones, were unaware of what had happened back in the day and stuff when it came to the events that led to the ancient kingdom going down, the making of the 20 kingdoms and all that. I thought that was going to be the case. But yeah, bro, it's just like when this got revealed here, it's like, bro, they know about the Davy clan. They are not, yeah, they're a lot, they might be scum of the earth and all that, but they're not completely stupid. Their actions, the way they go about things is, but they are aware of these things. They know about them. In addition to the Buccaneer boys serving in as a super rare rabbit, in this contest, we have another target who's been found at long last after 800 years, the Davy clan. And I don't think it's just subjected only just to Blackbeard and his mom, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's other people around them as well. So it probably led to a massive massacre after the fact on the rest of the people that were there. But it's just absolutely nuts to me, bro, that whole thing had happened. And again, bro, the way that whole thing had went down, and you just told everyone right there, the Davy clan are in fact on this island. And that's how the chapter ends. That's how the chapter ends, bro. So it might depend on the generation. Shalaria is still a teenager. That probably makes a lot of sense. So she wouldn't be aware of it because she's still on the younger side and all that. But yeah, man. Oh, wait up. Forgot to change that. I probably changed that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do better at taking the intro off and stuff afterwards. But yeah, so that's pretty much what ends up happening after with the conclusion of the chapter itself and everything. Because again, the big thing that we're about to get into is like, for us, we're going to see all of them pull up. It's almost a given. We're going to see them all pull up at the exact same time on this island. And when all this ends up going down next week, because I figure that the week afterwards, we're probably going to go into like a break week, which wouldn't be surprising at all that Oda would do that, on the fact that he has to, though, show us what's going on. Like he has to literally show us what's going on, because it is very important that all this is going to happen after, right? So yeah, that's kind of like where my whole thing is on it. I think next chapter we're going to actually see the Roger Pirates, we're going to see the Rocks Pirates, all of them are going to come in, and then when the actual thing goes down will come after the break week, which I assume will be after this chapter. So we're going to get 1160, and then after that it's going to be 1161 after that. So yeah, we are gonna for sure see it. I think it's almost a guarantee we're all gonna see it, bro. All my homies hate Garling. Hey, bro, we all do, man. But yeah, so those are pretty much my breakdown on the chapter itself. In terms of predictions, I think it's very likely that we're gonna see by the end of the chapter, the Rocks Pirates and the Roger Pirates are all gonna show up on the island. They're gonna cause a mayhem, and then that's kind of like where we go into afterwards, regarding all that. So yeah, man. But let me know real quick though what you guys think right now in the chat. What kind of predictions, what you guys have in store right now in terms of what you think is going to end up going down in the next chapter or so, and then we're probably gonna wrap things up real quickly afterwards, because again, I wanted to go for like an hour or so for these, and again, this is something I'm gonna try and do at the very least every week after we get done with the chapters and all that. Like, so if we do the chapters on Thursday, like our regular time, we're going to go over the officials and stuff and discuss things a little bit more in detail because we have more information provided. So that's going to be the play after the fact. But let me just put chat over here so I can see you guys afterwards. And again, I appreciate everyone's been sliding through and stuff during the stream and everything, because I know we've had people coming in and out at different times and all that. But it's been really good just being able to do something like this and have like more content going on the channel and stuff, and have you guys join up part of this and everything, man. Yeah, God Valley is thicker than Prime Lizzo, bro. That is, yo, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't know if you needed to say it like that, but you're not wrong either, bro. Um, but yeah, man, if Imu was taking over Gunko's body in the present, and I think Imu made his presence in God Valley, taking over someone, feeling like Imu is the villain in God Valley. I think the likely one too, though, DJ, is probably end up being Zebek. I think Zebek ended up being controlled with the Domi Reversi. That led him to go wild. But then again, I think his own madness was probably enough that something crazy happened that led to him just start wilding out the way that he did after the fact. So yeah, I think that's going to be the case. Either he gets hit with a Domi Reversi or we actually see the crash out of the century. I think that's what's going to end up happening. I can't believe all this flashback is coming from Loki's storytelling. Well, now that's the other thing I also want to say too, right? Harold had to have been there to make sense of all this, right? Because I'm looking at it from like repeat putting the pieces together. How do they know about this and that? How does Loki know the world government is responsible for Zebek's demise? How is he aware of this stuff? Is it Harold that told him? Did Loki actually manage to sneak out and go off and do his own thing and saw before his eyes everything that went down? Because that, from at least from a narrating story perspective, to make sense of everything that's going on, I think that would make the most sense that that's why he knew that, unless Harold told him straight up. But I don't know if that's gonna be the case. I don't know if Harold actually told him, because then it opens up a lot of other things about the chapters to come when it comes to Loki and how he's gonna go about things, whatever, right? The Willow what's going on, bro? What's going on, bro? There's definitely more members of the Davy clan, but I don't think Rox's wife was one of them, since it seems like Rox told them about the existence of the Davy clan when he sent them to the island. That probably makes more sense for sure, though. It's probably like his line, like his family and stuff, whatever, is for sure. And then his girl was just on her own time and stuff from her own ends, whatever, right? So that's why I think would probably end up being the case there, Lizard. Scopper's filling in the details as well, because ain't no way Loki knows all of this. That's the thing, though, Hakeem. That's the thing, bro. I don't want to say that he maybe for sure knows this, but again, if he was on the island and was watching from afar, then we're getting from what his perspective was. But all this other stuff had to have been from Harold telling him. I will say this though, pre God Valley, like before we get to the day of the incident, I wouldn't be surprised if Harold did tell him all this stuff. Wouldn't be surprised if Harold told him all this stuff. But actually seeing what happened on the islands, for that to make sense, either Harold had to have told him or Loki actually showed up. Only way there. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Rox's wife is Marshall D to mirror Porcus D Rouge. Very likely to me, Lizard, that she probably, that's where it is. I think the mom definitely for sure being a Marshall. That's definitely where he got the name, which is crazy. Shows the contrast in comparison in weird way to Teach and Ace, because Ace took the mom's name and didn't go by Goldie Ace. Whereas in the case though for Teach was the same thing. He didn't want to go by his dad's name, but it's like, but it feels like he's doing this whole revenge tour for the dad, but he's using his. It's crazy. He does this. Ace does what he does out of love for his mom for keeping him alive and making sure that he was born. Teach is using his mom. It's different for his own personal gains and goals. Like, do you understand how crazy that is? While respecting his pops, I don't know, man. Just wild. What if Shank's mom is Davy clan? That's why Garling wanted Davy kids. If that confirms right there that Shanks is a D, then by all means, I assume if you're part of the Davy clan, you're a D as well. So Davy D Shanks, Davy D Shamrock, I don't know. Like that's gonna be curious to see if Oda actually goes through with that, right? It feels like the narrator was taking over Loki's flashback. It felt like that, bro. Hey, we gotta see what the narrator looks like too, bro. I'm not gonna lie. He might, listen, he might be Joy Boy. For all we know, he might be Joy Boy, bro. Yeah, Sengoku's words are sus to me though, Les. Roger and Rox had to team up because Sengoku wasn't present at God Valley. His agenda is stretching, and there's something more to it, obviously. I mean, that's the thing. Whatever Sengoku was saying to us, bro, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bunch of cap. Because this is coming from somebody who's trying to tell the Marines exactly what they should be hearing so they don't start asking questions that's gonna get them got. It's just what it is, bro. But I think more than likely though, like Garb may have told him some stuff here, fabricated a little bit, because he's not gonna tell him the full truth. It's just not gonna happen that way. How many new God Knights do you think that we're going to learn their names? In 1096, it looked like 13 silhouettes. We're gonna see a bunch. I don't know how many in total. Actually, I do, because I have talked about this before at the very beginning of Elbaf, and I've made jokes and stuff here and there about it. But Organization 13, Kingdom Hearts, I'm telling you right now, the 13 elites we're going to get when it comes to the Gods Knights are literally going to be by the Kingdom Hearts greatness, man. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be that, bro. Organization 13, bro, it's going to be a thing in One Piece, bro. That's going to be the Gods Knights actual template and how they're going to be depicted, bro. Shout out to Nomura. Next chapter has to be the start of the God Valley in Kuma's flashback. Yeah, it has to be. Obviously, from the perspective of being told, at least with the rock side stuff and everything. But yeah, give us Dracula Vlad. Hey, bro. Hey, bro. My only issue is that I doubt Emu would allow them to continue the Davy bloodline. Emu is a primetime hater. Well, that's the thing, though, right? Because if Kuma had saved Teach with the people that they were, the 500 people or so that they're able to save, it makes sense how they got away. Because otherwise, whole island gets bombed like that, just gone, bro. But I think if it was the case that Teach was among the people that Kuma did save, it makes so much sense why that they were able to survive the way that they did from the island and everything too. So yeah, I think that's gonna end up being the case in how they survived. I think Jupiter is here, and also Gorosei we haven't seen before, which Jupiter would replace. That's very fascinating, Winston, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that too. Considering what Garling does with Saturn, like post time skipping stuff after, like in the events we're seeing presently, I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that ended up happening too. But at the same time, I think they were tight knitted for a long time as like the five girls say, like the ones that we've seen like throughout the whole series. I think they were there for like a hot minute, and then Emu made the changes because they felt that was the necessary thing to do after. But let me see. Vince Smoke Romeo. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I need y'all to provide me real quickly. Who in God's name is Vince Smoke Romeo, bruv? Who is, bro? I've been seeing this name and I'm just like, bro, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing here, bro? Like, just like, I don't know, man. But I mean, listen, bro, shout out to Romeo, I guess. Not everyone was talking about it in Twitter, bro. I gotta see this, bro. I'm gonna put this on the side for myself just because I don't know if it's gonna be like get me like smoked or whatever. But yeah, bro, like, what are we doing, bro? What is this? What is this? What am I looking at, bro? Like, nah, bro. This guy's like a crossbreed of like, I don't even know, bro. He's like Sanji with like little parts here and there of like Toji or something. I don't know. Hey, bro, listen, bro. I'm gonna let y'all have fun with that, man. But shout out to Romeo, bro. He might be clear of judge, bro. I mean, in terms of Shax and Shamrock's mom being a Davy, it's possible, but I think they could also be another family that's outside from the Davies. But who knows? That's something that Oda's gonna have to tell us. What if Harold does what Garp does and saves Rock's kid, just like how Garp saved Ace? That would be so crazy. It would be, yo, that, oh man, oh wait, actually no, not with Garp. Oh wait, I mean with Garp it would make sense, yeah, but hmm. See, I don't know, because I want to make this make sense, because you know how when Roger is asking Garp, I want that to be the case there where Rox asked Roger to do that, but then because of what happened, he couldn't keep his end to the promise. So he's almost like putting the weight of the burden of the sin that he had, and he puts it afterwards on Garp. You know what I'm saying? Like, because obviously it was its own thing, right? Please watch over Ace. He didn't do anything wrong. He's doing the exact same that, if anything, Zebek had asked of him. I think that would be fire. If Zebek had asked Roger because he goes and asks Garp, that would be a good, like, one to the other, like a hot potato kind of scenario, right? Yeah, I mean, we have Lomeo, so why not Romeo? Hey, bro. Hey, bro. He was up against Ryuma, Ferris. Cole also tweeted about it. Bro, Cole's funny as hell, man. I'll tell you, bro. In the past chapters, we see the Gorosei in the flashback. People have said that the Gorosei doesn't look like Jupiter. Fascinating. I'm gonna have to go back and look at a couple panels just to see for myself regarding that. But yeah, for predictions though for the next chapter, I'm gonna go and say that by the end of it, we're gonna see the Roger and Rock's pirates all pull up at the same time. I think we're gonna also see how Dragon gets his Delve Fruit, because I do think that if Shanks gets put in that treasure chest, they're going to be right next to it, and then that's how he gets the power afterwards. And then the last thing that I can see, like if I want to say it's my guarantee or whatever, if I had to make a guarantee, if I had to make my one guarantee in this chapter, like my Charles Barkley guaranteed. What could it be? I had it in my thought, but I lost it. Though, I'm not gonna lie. I lost my thought, but I'm not gonna lie. If I had to put my guarantee on what that could be, I think we're going to see Harold pull up on God Valley with Loki in tow. Just from a narrator perspective, to get all the understandings, I think Loki pulls up, like snuck in with Harold, and he goes over there. I think that's what happens. I think, honestly, I'll go even further and say Harden might have been with them too. Because it's like, yo, what is my brother doing? What are you wilding out? Why are you going over there? It's like, yo, shh. If we go together, right? We go together, we see what's happening over on whatever, we're good. But then it opens up a little bit of holes though with Harden, because it's like Harden would be very aware of the fact of what happened during the God Valley incident. So I think it's more safer to say that Loki probably snuck his way through a Herald and found his way afterwards on God Valley to know what's going on. But I think that's gonna be the thing. We're gonna see how everyone's gathering together, all that. We're probably gonna see Shanks' mom saying their goodbyes to Shanks and Shamrock. I think that's almost like a given. Dragon getting his devil fruit would be that, and then maybe something there with Teach and his mom. I can see it's almost like they're getting ready for the departures, like goodbyes, before war commences on that island. I can see that being the case. Or who knows? We may even get some reveals on the God's Knights, like the other people that are there. We may actually get to see more of the people that are involved in the actual manhunt itself. Those will be my predictions. But if I had to make my super duper guarantee, Loki finds his way onto Harold's ship and sees before him everything that went down with the God Valley incident, which is why he knows what he knows. Allegedly, the world government was responsible for Zebek's demise. So yeah, Dragon's gonna have his big moment. I feel like. Oh, and the other thing too. That's another thing I'm gonna add in there as well. We're going to get a Dragon and Garp confrontation or a talk. If not the next chapter, at the very least in this arc, we're gonna see that happen. We're gonna see the split between father and son, or father-in-law and son-in-law. It's gonna happen. Rock's Dragon and Roger. Okay, do you think that we'll see Rock's death will inspire the Rock's crew and Gold Roger continue chasing the dream? It's caused the flashback shows that Gold Roger is kind of aimless. I wouldn't say it's weird. It's I don't see, that's the thing, bro. I see people saying like the personality's not there, that he's aimless or whatever. Bro, he's just vibing. He's just doing his job. He's just doing his thing, whatever out there in the ends, right? That's just what it is. This was just young Roger. Whatever happened on God Valley would warp and shape his mentality in a different light, so that when he actually goes and does his thing after the fact, it's because of the things that he experienced and learned on God Valley that went and shaped his journey after the fact, right? So yeah, that could be the case. Loki pulling an Emu. Oh yeah, pulling an Inu and Neko would be funny. I'm telling you, that's gonna be the case. Listen, Neko and Inu were the prototype when they did it with Odin. It wouldn't surprise me if Loki found a way to make it happen, man. Laz, how many chapters will the God Valley incident be? Maybe 2 to 3 chapters. I think that's a sweet spot. 3 chapters. It's gonna be beginning, middle, end. It's gonna be once we come off the break week, we're gonna see it happen, like the early start. Middle is either when the Domi Reversi happens, the chaos, with a crazy cliffhanger. I think that if we get 3 chapters, I think the second chapter is where it ends on the cliffhanger of either Zebek getting got or about to get got. Third chapter is so 1161 is when it begins. 1162 is when things get go a little too crazy, whatever, and then cliffhanger, and then the third chapter, 1163. That's gonna lead to everything finishing up afterwards, and then it ends off with God Valley being Owarida. That's what I would think. Yeah, Roger was just having fun, bro. Yeah, that's not aimless. Bro, having fun ain't a crime. Having fun is not a shame, bro. People forget how they were just doing fun, enjoying themselves and stuff at that age and everything, bro. Not everything got to be straight business, bro. It don't got to be like that, man. It ain't got to be like that. People said the Dragon being a God's Valley is like Luffy being a Marineford arc, but I also think Luffy is more of a Kobe. He's definitely more of a Kobe in this scenario here. He didn't have like the ambitions and stuff like that. He was just someone that was with the grind about his justice and everything. My guarantee that Roger and Dragon are going to interact on God Valley. Dragon pulled up at Roger's execution for a reason. I think so too. You know what actually would be a sick moment to see happen? And I know people are going to use this to meme and joke or whatever, bro, but listen, bro, common sense, bro, will never prevail, unfortunately, within the community. Not everybody in the community, but a certain side of the community you guys are aware of and stuff. But it would be crazy if mirroring what Luffy did to Kobe during Marineford is what Roger does to Dragon in God Valley. Would not surprise me. Would not surprise me. You're going to see a lot of correlations and things that mirror what happened in Marineford happen on God Valley, but injected with the steroids that are better than whatever Hody Jones had, bro. It's going to be crazy. I'm telling you that right now. Yeah, Rock's being killed also. I think it's a guarantee. Rock's dying in front of his son is going to happen. I'm telling you right now. It's going to happen, and that's going to be the thing that shapes Blackbeard into what he is today. So, but yeah, I'd say about like 2 or 3 chapters, what I'm saying. Second chapter, it ends with Emu appearing on God Valley. Bro, oh my God. But I will say this, though. Oh, man, it's tough, man, because we could see the design, though. Because I originally had thought that we were probably going to see Emu during Harold's death in the chambers and stuff. That Loki, maybe got to see a little bit of some whatever. Like us, the readers, can see something. How would y'all feel about this though? Would you rather see Emu's reveal happen during the God Valley incident if they were to get involved personally, or would you rather see it when Blackbeard pulls up on them in Mary Joie and pulls them away from Gunko during the fight with Luffy and all of them? I think that would be crazy. I think that would be nuts if the first reveal of Emu in the story, face and everything, is Blackbeard pulling us back on them and then we get to see them squabble. Because I would love for that to be the case. But I wouldn't be angry whatsoever if it happened during God Valley. But I think that would be a better scenario for me if we don't get it then. That would be Firelad's divine departure on Dragon will be wild. Bro, I'm telling you, bro. Listen, I know the meme that Todachi, I think his name is, or Totsuki, I think Todachi, was the one that he does like the arts and stuff, whatever, after every chapter, where he's like, bro, chill. He's like, divine departure, because he's doing for Shaki. I think that would be crazy if he did that to Kobe. Roger Rocks saved Dragon, which shamed Garp and made him raise Ace. I think something happened there with Garp and Dragon, that Dragon questioned something, and then just like he lost all respect for his. Bro, here's the thing. Please tell me there are people who have read A Song of Ice and Fire or have watched Game of Thrones. If you guys know Tower of Joy or For the Night's Watch, I promise you right now, Oda is going to take inspiration from that. He already did with the mural when it came to Lord of the Rings. I promise you he's going to try some stuff right there with A Song of Ice and Fire. He's going to do the exact same thing, bro. He's either going to do a Tower of Joy thing with, right now, technically, with Dragon being Ned Stark and finding his Jon Snow, which would be Shanks. Or in the case there it could be Teach as well, too. Or for the Night's Watch, it's going to be Domi Reversi, Zebek being gotten by his own people or the Marines right in front of his kid. That's how I see it playing out, bro. So maybe Oda's saving Emu's face reveal by the end of the year, because there's a lot of Emu plushies in Twitter and Oda has been taking pictures of Emu. I think that, listen, we know how every time Oda ends the year or starts the new year on a madness, I think that's almost a guarantee we're going to see that happen. So I watched it. I'm reading the book now as well. Hakeem, you know ball, bro. Song of Ice and Fire, bro. Listen, I need to see that to completion, the novel, man. Absolute shame that we're not getting anything right now from George. But yeah, that's kind of where I see it. I wanted in Mary Joie too. Yeah, bro, I'm telling you. We need... Listen, if it happens in Mary Joie and the moment that we actually get to see... Like, because I think it was, shout out to my boy Glenn, because I believe we talked about this before on Discord and stuff after the chapter and everything with some of the other guys. Which again, I think also for the Yap Piece as well, depending on how things go, I may also bring people on and stuff, just like discuss the chapters and everything, but we're going to see how that goes after in time. But we talked about the idea that Van Augur, because if the Blackbeard Pirates are on there on Mary Joie causing a chaos, that they're going to pull Emu and Blackbeard away from Pangea Castle and put him somewhere on top of the red line so that they can have their squabble that they can go and throw down. I think it would be so fire, bro. Yeah, man. But yeah, this was this chapter, I think, going back and looking at it, bro, absolute madness that Oda did all this in one chapter. And I already know in the next few chapters to come, we will be getting that God Valley incident. You cannot sway away from it, Oda. You cannot hide away from that. You have to tell us what happened by showing to us, man. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to come in 1160. I made my predictions. If you guys are coming in, tuning in right now, leave them down in the comments and stuff. What do you think is going to go down in 1160? Of course, we'll be back on the Thursday after a Friday when the chapter does drop. I know we're going to do like the other stuff as well, but tomorrow we have Donadon chapter 208, I believe is the next chapter. So we're covering that 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. So for the Donadon people, make sure you tune in for that. I also have a couple of videos that I am working on separate from One Piece and Dandadan as well for like series discussions that I'm working on. I'm hoping to try and get those out in the time to come. Hopefully by the next break week, I can be able to put that out in time because I've really been wanting to talk about more series that I've actually been enjoying. But if I don't talk about it on a Yap Piece, I'd rather just talk about them in an actual video separate from it. So definitely look forward to that. But I appreciate everybody who has come through. Whether you're watching from the beginning to the end, if you're just jumping in right now as I'm talking and stuff, I really appreciate y'all coming through. Shout out to my guy Manning. I appreciate you, brother, with the donations and stuff today, man. Like I said, bro, if you want to get questions and stuff after a little bit earlier, like immediate and stuff after donations, they'll help out with the channel a lot, man, when it comes to improving the streams, improving the equipment, and just getting things out a little bit faster and stuff. I greatly appreciate any love and support y'all want to show out. But just even pulling up to the streams, I greatly appreciate just talking with y'all every single week, man. Now that we have like better equipment, now we have better like stuff out here, I can be able to do things like this for y'all and actually properly build a community properly. Because I really didn't take pride too much into doing that because I didn't have the things I needed to get to those stages, and not to mention the responsibilities when it comes to building it, man. But I appreciate y'all coming through for the streams and everything, man. Love you guys so much. Again, like I said, tomorrow, dotted on. Stay tuned for that. But again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below regarding this first episode of Yap Piece covering chapter 1159. Let me know what you think of the chapter more in detail. If you want to leave your own thoughts, a more thorough review regarding the chapter, leave them down in the comments below. And your predictions for 1160. Also, if somehow, some way there are going to be spoilers and stuff afterwards, please do not put any of them in this comment section afterwards. I want to make sure that we are all good and all that too. And also, yes, I want to make sure to hear you. I almost about to forget. There's a new JJK spinoff slash sequel that is coming out from Gege and the creator, I think, for Cypher Academy, I think it is. They're doing the art. Gege's doing the story and stuff. I am going to try and do either a separate reaction slash review upload for the first chapter to give you guys my thoughts on it and stuff. Whether I decide to cover it afterwards, we will see. But that is going to be something I'm going to try and do. So if it doesn't come out today, doesn't come out tomorrow, I'm going to try and get it out by Tuesday so you guys can see for yourself my thoughts on the first chapter. And I'll give you more of a breakdown on where my stance is on it going into it. So like I said, man, we'll be out there tomorrow on Monday for the Dawn on Greatness. And then we'll be back on Thursday afterwards for the next chapter when it does drop. God Valley Instant season is upon us. It's about to be a movie. I cannot wait, man. And we will be in there no matter what. I thank y'all for coming through. Love and appreciate all support. And I'll see you guys in the next time. Commodore last signing off. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, take care. Where's my outro?